Good morning. Good morning. Glad you have made it to another GT Tuesday, another month. We're in October. Hopefully, some of you have had your fair days. The state fair is going on. Great time to come up, enjoy. Um, if you haven't came up already for game weekends, as I call them here, but it's always a good time. So today we're still going to talk about, we're still wrapped around the Texas State Plan, but I did hear you. So we're going to talk a little bit about program manuals and the handbooks. And then if you have one to share, or if you got yours, in a little bit, I'm going to ask that you drop a link to, if yours is public facing, drop a link to your program manual and handbooks so that others can see, check them out. And as we go in and move forward, and then always open for questions and answers, and hopefully you got some share outs to have for today. But this is our wellness check. How is everyone doing out there? Is everyone well? Because we know COVID is coming back a little bit. It's that season. Everyone got, if you get flu shots, are you getting your shots? Are you getting your boosters? Because we want you there. We want you well. All right. I need to get mine. Got your wellness checks done. Good morning, Donna. Thank you. Good morning. All right, Catherine. Good morning. All right, so we're here. We're ready. As you know, we got our state definitions. Scott's, yes, shots are scheduled. Very good, Amy. Because we work in school systems, and little children have a little bit of everything, and then some of our coworkers have a little bit of everything. So we got to take sure of ourselves if no one else does. All right. So what our state definition, we're looking for those students who exhibit high performance capability in the intellectual, creative, or artistic areas. So how are you doing that? And it's that season. Is your testing windows open, or what's going on? Or are you doing your referrals? Or are you more of like April? Yeah. March, April, looking at testing? Unusual capacity for leadership, those specific academic fields. How are you finding your performance at, or shows the potential for it? Are your parents educated on those realms? Or are we looking, are your teachers ready? And then are they doing their part to make sure that students are being referred for GT services and not being denied or blocked? So as our state goal, and how are our students demonstrating that? What are they doing in those classrooms, especially if you got those classrooms where we're doing full inclusion? What is happening in those classrooms that allows for the evidence of those innovative products or performances that shows our students individuality and creativity? What is it happening there that makes sure that our services are being first and foremost? Well, probably not always first and foremost, but it's always being out a part of the conversation. Because, I did some trainings yesterday, and one teacher said she never thought about it that way, of making sure that the lessons were wrapped around her GT students and what was going on for their level of work. So really got to think about, how do we, just refresh people's minds? Are we going to those conversations? So just want to remind you, our GT Tuesdays was coming up. We're going to take a break from our looking at some data and access to GT services. I'm working on getting our SPED numbers. So once we get those, we'll come back talking about that, and then some other topics that you threw out that we will address as we get into it. And then really looking at, differentiated instruction. And then also, I always know, secondary services is the high bid question within this realm of GT, and really looking at how we're doing services there, and really looking at the programs and our program options. So I know Kristen Graham is here with us today from Texas Association for the Gifted and Talented. We got something coming up real soon, don't we, Kristen?
We do. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. And I know you've heard from me and or Paulina, a bit here lately about Gift Ed, but just want to make sure that you all are kind of aware of all the little things that might be going on at Gift Ed. I'm sure a lot of you are already registered and have gotten your teams registered and are really excited. We are actually pacing ahead of every other year ever in registration for Gift Ed. So we are so excited that this community is excited about this opportunity that we get to all come together that week after Thanksgiving and just engage in really great professional learning and connection and everything else that Gift Ed brings. And so I just wanted to make sure that y'all were aware of a couple of things, specifically a couple of sessions, some tracks, things like that, so that if you have anyone in your district that's on the fence, or maybe you have a little bit more funds, which I realize that's probably a maybe not true statement, but who knows what might happen during special session this month, and maybe some funds might wiggle loose. I just want everyone to know we do have such a strong secondary track of sessions this year. We intentionally recruited folks and really combed through all the call for proposals to put together a really strong lineup of sessions for secondary folks, including changes to the ACT and SAT this year that are coming up. We have sessions, several sessions around different aspects of AP, whether you're an AP teacher or whether you're a coordinator or leader for your district, but managing AP from various perspectives. Lots of sessions around secondary. So if you have any secondary teachers that might be able to come for the first time, there truly will be something there for everyone, no matter what their subject level is or what they might be teaching. So I just wanted to drop that in there. We've also got, I just worked with yesterday, we have a few sessions centered around AI. We know that's going to be a really popular topic, but I'm excited about a panel discussion we're going to have with some people that are really just at the forefront of what that means for K-12 education. And so I worked with them yesterday, and I'm super excited about that. That panel is going to have Brian Housand, Sabina Barwani, and Bruce Ellis on it, and I'm personally really looking forward to that. Also, this might pique the interest of some of you that are especially local to the DFW area. Our summit this year is focused on depth and complexity, and Jay Taylor is going to be helping us out with that and has presented a great program for Friday afternoon with really just kind of some different learning avenues. So you kind of get to choose your own adventure depending on what your role is, what your experience level is with depth and complexity. And so we're excited. I did want to let y'all know that now that the early bird deadline is open, one thing we've done is we have opened up standalone registration for the summit. So if you have maybe some teachers or others in your district, and again, this may apply if you're just more local to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you have someone that would like to come just for Friday afternoon to attend that summit, we have registration open just for the summit. That will include lunch. And so that information is on our website, or you can reach out to me. I'll share links here in the chat in a minute. And then the other opportunity that we just opened up that we haven't talked about yet, if you've been to some of our events in the past year, you will know that we've been doing, as we move around the state, a workshop, a half-day workshop specifically for campus leaders, district leaders. We're bringing that back to Gift Ed again. This time it's going to be free. It's Thursday morning from 9 to 12. This is specifically for your campus leaders, assistant superintendents, executive directors, superintendents. That is the audience. So this is a free half-day event for them. Meredith Austin, Kelsey Karcher, and Colin Seal are going to be presenting that and kind of covering the range of topics from making sure those leaders understand the needs, whether it be instructional, social, emotional needs of gifted students. Meredith is going to do what she does best and present, the finance piece, the policy piece, what does it mean to be in compliance? She's going to present that really important information. And then Colin is going to take the second half of that workshop and really present on what does it mean to be gifted? What does tangible equity look like? So I'm really excited about this opportunity for our leaders. So that is open on our website now. So if you know anybody that, any leaders, specifically campus or district leaders only for this one, they can register for free and attend Thursday morning. So just wanted y'all to be aware of that and know that that option is now available. Click on over, and I'll add the link in the chat, but it's tagtconference.org. So that's all I'm going to bombard you with today is just some great stuff to get excited about for Gift Ed.
All right. Thank you, Kristen. And hopefully you have a great day. And everyone, that's a great opportunity. It's local. It's great information. And then a lot of your peers do present there. And so it's an opportunity that some of you can't let go. So hope to see you there. I will be there. I think I got 2 presentations. I do. So hope to see you there. All right. Program manuals. And really it is, when we think about program manuals and what we're talking about, or your handbook, because some of it might be a little bit different, is just an opportunity to make sure that all of the information, well, majority of the information, because there's always something changing, about your program, how to either run your program or the detailed, fine-tuned details is there. We did not say it had to be an external document for everyone, but it could be an external document. Or it could be an internal document that has a little more detail, a little more meat, where specifically if you walked away tomorrow, someone knows how to run your program. And that's what the goal was. There are before we started this, there was a lot of people who, as we know, our programs transition, our administrators transition, you get new opportunities, you get something, or you're now the GT coordinator. This is, and it's like, either you had a note, you had nothing, or you had a little notepad, or you had a file cabinet. And hopefully with a program manual, you had a little bit more that you could read. Because I know when I came on to the agency, there was files, there was documents, there was file cabinets, and there's still file cabinets that I come to find out. But there was nothing in writing anywhere to say, this is what is expected. This is the things and the pieces to go along with this. So hopefully with their program manual, it gives you a little bit more of, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing. So we have a couple of resources. I'm going to talk about a resource before I get into some details. So if you are new to your program or to your to gifted education period, and you're looking for what is those components, this is a document we built out years ago. It's the second rendition of this is the Texas GT program implementation resource. This will walk you through setting up your assessment, your service design, what curriculum. It has dilemmas for administrators, school board, parents, teachers, different things, counselors, so that you can see different ways. But it also has wealth of resources there. You will see it say Mockingbird ISD, that is a fictitious school district. There is none in the state of Texas. But you can take those documents, remove Mockingbird and make it your own. That was the goal of this. This is, if you need to find a form and you don't know where else to find one, or if it's not there, you can find it. If you could find it here, you may use it. There's a profile sheet, and I just walked through actually, because we're a step ahead of some other states or some other districts, and so I got called from Washington, D.C. And so I'm not Washington, D.C., Washington State. And they're building their program based on some of the information that we have put out there. So really thinking about what are you doing, how you're doing it. And so take time, check it out, review it. But in general, what we're looking for with with our program manuals, one, and I'm always a proponent of, you need to define I know a lot of you just copy our state definition, which is fine. But you really also need to also go into describe what is your gift and talented services for your district. What does that look like? Because if you always hear me when I go back and you start asking questions on, especially spending money or your program services, or going to the next option, your program options. If you're doing full-time inclusion or if you're doing pull out, where is that written? Where is that part of it? If you're doing pull out, are you also doing services in the regular classroom? So those kind of things need to come out into the conversation, because that guides also if you're doing pull out, full inclusion, because students are to be served in the regular classroom, that guides the direction of your professional development. Because now, yes, those core content teachers in the regular classroom, yes, they do need their 30 hours, because it's not solely the 30, the pull out teacher. Some of you have it very limited to it's only the pull out teacher. Then you go to the language of it's best that the core content have it, but it's not part of our defined program. So you really got to think, what are you looking for? How are you going for it? What does our program look like? What does it look like K-12? Really thinking about what is happening in kinder, what is happening 1st through 5th, our 6th grade, our 12th grade, what is happening in those programs? And if you have any out of school options, what are those options looking like? What are those enrichment things? So really thinking about program design. And what do we mean by ours? Because talk to another one school may have honors as a part of their GT services. Another school district may not have honors as a part of their GT services, but they have a track. So you got to think about, what does that mean? And then how do you fit in? What are your programs and services? Some schools, some districts, some of our larger have specific GT programs that are not a part of the GT program of under your umbrella as the GT coordinator, GT or advanced academics. It's under a different services. They got a whole different thing, but they're using the name. So you got to think about, where do our lines cross, where our lines do not cross, and being very clear. I see no questions. All right. And then we go into talking about our identification. And it's really like, what is your window? What does your process look like? When do you start, announcing it? When do you, when does the window shut? Who makes that determination? Who reviews the different measures out there? Determination of placement. What does that look like? What is the appeal process? How long do they have to appeal? You put your notices out in May. Do they have until June or July to make that appeal? Knowing that they may be on vacation or not. So thinking about that and really getting into those conversations and putting it in writing. And with your identification and assessment, here's the thing. If you are doing a public facing or external facing document, you may not want to put down the types of assessments that you are providing, because they're going to go on the website and look at it. You might not want to put your rubric in the program manual if you're putting it as an external document, because now they're looking and they're watching and they're seeing what you're saying is cut off. So some of it might be still internal, where this is what we're doing here, where you're public facing just says we have an assessment, we use 3 out of 5 measures, and leave it at that. So really thinking about the communication, because, we got those parents out there who want to know, what are you using? How are you using it? What is that cutoff score? What is the practice test? And it's like, no, there is no practice test. No. So who to communicate, who to reach out to if they want to know, what is your referral process? What is your transfer process? So when those GT students come in, we know we have all these guidelines, we know we have policies, but this is really looking at, what is our day-to-day operation? How do we do this? Who do we contact? When do we reach out? When do we make a determination? Do we observe our GT students coming in? Or do we automatically place? Do we move them, Do we wait to the next testing window? What is the next testing window? Those kind of things for if you step up and move out, what's going on? How does it, how do you communicate that? And so, and then we talked about our selection. So remember, who composes your GT committee for review of your data, of student data for placement? What are their responsibilities? Is it at a district level, or is it at a, campus level? What are they trained on your measures, or they're just trained on the scoring results? So thinking about that, because depending on if we're looking at a district level process or looking at campus, really looking at who is part of that composition. Is it reflective of your district or reflective of the campus? Because as part of that is, remember, we have guidelines in our state plan about our selection committee. And if you have a gifted and talented education plan, and for those who are new, it's kind of like your education plan for your DT students IEP. But this is some districts do say we want an education plan for our DT students. So who makes those decisions? Is that part of the DT committee? Or is it a teacher base? Who's part of that conversation? Who's looking at that and developing that as we go forward? So really thinking on those realms on how does that look and what does that look like? So if you got a handbook out there, drop your link in the chat for your friends and our cohorts here so that they can check it out, find out, and improve, build upon. Because I know a lot of you got some great ones out there because I've looked at them. I found them when I was trying to help a parent. So they're there. So next is curriculum. And a lot of this is, what are your alignments? What are they learning? What is that array of learning experience? What is that continuum? What does that look like in your district? How do you handle acceleration, specifically beyond the subject level, beyond grade level, but also getting into subject level? What does that look like for a first grader or a second grader? Do they reach out to you when they are looking at accelerating a kindergartner or first grader up to a higher level? What does that look like? What is your guidance as you put that out? Do you do student progress report? How are you monitoring students? How are you looking at what they're doing and how they're growing? And so really taking those opportunities to lay it out, give your example. Are you doing growth plans for those who are really this close to being exited from your program? What are your exiting procedures? Is it just, parent says, yes, let's move them out. But what if you know that these services are no longer working for a student? How are you moving them to the next level? And next level might be either you get on board to our program or our program is not working for you. We need to exit you from our services. And so really thinking about that. And then professional learning, really thinking about what are the requirements? How are we fitting those requirements? What does our policy say specifically for our administrators, our counselors, our teachers? We all know we got a 30 hours and an annual 6-hour update for our teachers. Some of you also have an annual update for your administrators and counselors. Some of you do not have an annual update. So some of you is that one and done. And how do we handle school board? What are we talking about for that school board training? How often are we getting out there just to give them an update on what are our services? What does that look like? What is your professional development schedule? What are you looking at? How are you, what are you using? Who, are we referring everyone to the ESC? Do we have some internal programs? What are our options? How are we looking at professional development? And then that verification documentation. So one is looking at these GT providers out there. How are you determining that they are a GT provider? And are they just saying, oh, I got a sheet that says, yes, I provide GT services. What is the background of that? What are you looking for? because we got some museums out there. We got some other services out there. We got some other associations that are providing. TCEA is added on a strand. I know Texas Association for English Language and Reading. I think I can't. I know I just turned their name up, but they got also a strand. So you see, well, we got to think about if we're going to take some of these. What does it look like? What are we talking about? And then what do you need to provide your district for documentation that says, yes, I got my 30 hours. Yes, I got my 6 hour. And because we are a local controlled state, I love to say that. And you're a local controlled district, and you can determine, do you want their 30 hours to every 10 years, you need an update of your 30 hours, or every 20 years of your 30 hours? What does that look like? What is your refresher process? What is not eligible for 6 hour update? We determine that. This is what you're looking for curriculum and instruction. What are those pieces that you're saying is a part of that documentation? Yes, I need your certificate within this window. You need to take your training in this time. So really think about it. And then looking at evaluation. How often are you looking at what are we providing? What are our teachers going to? How is it reflecting back in that classroom? What is, this is not quality training over here. We need to go to another, venue, or thinking about that. So those are some things to have in that conversation piece. I think I saw a question come up. All right. All right, I see it. Okay. Thank you for dropping those in the chat. And then communications, and really thinking about our professional development in the district. What are you looking at? What, who got it? Who's reviewing that? Is it left up to the principal or the GT coordinator, or is it district level? Your public service announcements, because sometimes PSAs, they're free through your district. Sometimes, where's this money coming from? Program services, really thinking about that. How are you advertising? And, with advertisements, there's 2 different levels there. You're really thinking about how you're promoting your program, but then you're wanting the community to come out to support some of your things as you're promoting and building your own program services. And then what are you talking about for family communication? What is putting out there for the community to come out or to volunteer, to be mentors for our students, and really getting into that. Kind of went into my next slide here. So really looking at what is if you have an advisory group, what does that comprise of? How are they selected? What are what is the representation ratio? Even with our parent groups and associations, is it allowed? Is there some in your district? How do they reach out? What do they do? What is your policy for mentors and for volunteers? What do they, because we keep ramping up our security measures, they need to be a part of that. And then some of our partnerships. Some of us do work with some other great entities out there that are doing work within our schools, and really looking at those pieces. And so just really taking the time to kind of contemplate and then lay it out so that, if you have a brain freeze moment, you can find it somewhere. And then I want to end with record retention policy. So really thinking about how, we have guidance, but some of our guidance is really more around student related material. And there are some from a little bit on professional learning, but really what is your, how are you keeping documentation? We know for our GT students who are receiving services is 5 years after the cessation of services. All right, so we stop services after they're tested. So basically, where are we keeping these documents? Is it all electronic? Is it got a paper copy somewhere? When do we get rid of the ones that are already out there? What do we do with this? How do we make sure this is being transferred to the next level, to the next place? And then really thinking about, are we doing student progress? What are we looking for in our own student growth? How are we keeping those documents from, K K through 5, does it move to the middle school or does it just kind of disappears in a crave somewhere? And hopefully it's not going in a dumpster because, I come from a district that we had dumpster divers that would, that they went out there looking specifically on how they could write up a district or what they can put communication could put out there. So, and then professional learning documentation. How are we keeping that? Because right now we all know the main key person that keeps that is the educator. You have some, and then some of them coming back to you, and once they move, it's like I got rid of your records. So, what are our records retention policy, and really thinking of that? So, I know I've talked a lot. What are any questions out there? Any recommendations? Any this is what you found that was best? Any questions? And I want to say once again, thank you for those who have dropped theirs on in the link. Yes, this will be helpful. Any questions? Wonderful. A little quiet today. All right. So there's no questions on my handbooks. All right. Just want to remind you that this is this weekend. So I don't know if I know the early bird is over. I'm not sure if registration is closed on the Sing and McKinney Gifted and Talented Alliance for their regional conferences this weekend, 8 to 4. Good opportunity. I'm not sure if and I do not see Lisa on the call right now. So, but this is an opportunity if you're looking for something to do this weekend. Also, a lot of you heard and seen in my newsletter announcement, the Lone Star Leadership Academy. So they're doing their call for nominations for their 4th through 8th grade students for their summer camp. So take an opportunity to grab that. I will also throw out a plug. If you are, I'm about to drop another newsletter, y'all, because I've got these new information coming in. So if you got any job placements or any announcements you want to share with the group, any highlights, please send them to me by the end of this week, and because I'm gonna drop another newsletter out for the world. Y'all, it's a lot going on in GT world as we go forward, and so feel free to take that time to send me that. Ooh. So Liz got a great question. So what record keeping system do you use for tracking teachers' 30 hours? Now I'm gonna tell you what the old school secretary in my district before I left, she had a master spreadsheet that she kept track of everybody in that master spreadsheet. Now I know some of you got some other ones. Holly got you, or they're using Euphoria. And then she has her own Google spreadsheet where she's tracking. Strive PD system, okay, and KickUp system, okay. Probably thinking about Google. I know a lot of you are Google districts. Probably if you use a Google form, that Google forms and that spreadsheet will probably allow you to upload into that. And to allow them to drop in their own stuff as they go forth. You might have to go and check it out. Project GT and their own spreadsheet. So yeah, a lot of us are still using those spreadsheets to build it in. It's just easy to add on a new sheet or to build up. So maybe one of you can find, there might be a GT student project out there. It's really to come up with a good tracking system, and we can use universal until someone says we can do it at the state level, and we'll figure it out up at our level. So, another question for Liz: how can you track on project? So whoever's using Project GT, can you come off mute for a minute and say how you are tracking on Project GT?
Hi, this is Rosemary Martinez from Los Fresnos. We are currently having the teachers upload their certificates onto Project GT, and we're able to run a report based on user uploads. And from there, I'm getting that information and tracking it on my own spreadsheet. That's how we're doing it now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So those Google spreadsheets are pretty much spreadsheets or a Google sheet is pretty much how people are keeping track. Okay.
Monica,
Yes.
this is Roxanne. I'm sorry, I'm trying to turn on my camera. There it goes. In Northside. Any of you guys that are new, hear my words of wisdom on a Google sheet. If you let the people on the campus have their own Google sheet and it's not shared with you, then when they leave, all that info leaves with them. So we've now started a master district sheet that they have the right to edit for their school, so that when they leave, we still hold the info and we're not going back in. So we're huge. If you're small, that may not be a problem, but for us, it became an issue. So that's just a little help you not have to redo work that someone else has already done. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So this is our Q&A time. So any other questions on that? Any other best practices I will also put out on your spreadsheets and your tracking of your systems.
Oh, here's something else. Those of you that have Eduphoria, I used to have Eduphoria in the previous district. You can make a designation that you give to people when they have their 30 hours, and then you can run the report with just searching for that designation. So they have to like apply for that designation. I did that in Northeast. So if you are interested in that, you should contact Amy Chandler in Northeast ISD because she still does it. But that's one way to run a report and track in Eduphoria.
Her name was Amy Chandler in Northeast. All right. Any other best practices, good ideas? Other questions, wonderings? Any shout outs, any happenings you want to share with the world? If you got one, I'm going to ask for them because we're going to be getting ready. Let's do that in November. I want shout outs and happenings from your districts. I want to hear what you got going on. And so the rest of the world. All right. So just a reminder, I will be updating our webpage today. And so the link should be out there. I would say try for tomorrow, not today. Try for tomorrow, but make sure everything is uploaded in live. I already got the PowerPoint from today already saved and ready to go. So we'll get everything up with the video recordings as soon as possible. And then the link, it is updated so that for those who are not finding the registration link, or if you need to send someone that way, you can find it there also. Once again, how to get announcements. One announcement I do want to note is that you know that our legislator is back in session, and the SB1 is already out, and that is on the, as they're calling it, an education fund for students. So if you are a legal kind of want to know what they're saying, take time and opportunity to read it, to discuss it. I know, and then think about the implications for your district. I know a lot of districts are already making comments. Your superintendents are there, but really think about You know, what are your options? What are the things going on? So take time to read it. I always promote being in the know as we go forward. All right. So here's my contact information, but I think everyone knows how to reach me, how to find me. So you can either reach me at monica.brewer or gted@ta.texas.gov. That's my direct line. Sometimes it's easier to just shoot me a text and call me, or shoot me an email and say call me. But I want to say thank you. Hopefully everyone has a great rest of their week and great day. If there are no other questions or wonderings, I see none in the chat, or no one has said raise the hand or want to jump off mute. You know me, we're going to wrap it up at 9:42. So yes, you will have the chat. I will probably not post these links because I know some of them are internal, but if you want a link, if you did not capture it, email me and I will share that with you. Yes, there is still an allocation in the general allotment. So yes, that money is still there. It is still there. So yes, there is an allocation in the general allotment. And so yes, there is no spreadsheet for this. Our finance department decided that they will not publish that anymore. So no, there is no spreadsheet for that. Sorry. The last couple of years, I've been finagling a way how to account for that, but trying to figure it out. But I do have I have the GT allotment for our GT allotment for a 3-year window. So I do have that. So. All right. Thanks for the questions, y'all. Have a great day. And till next, I think October 24th is our next meeting. Yes, you can. I also provided to your ESCs. So either one of us. I have not sent it out to them, but you can request it from me and then I'll send it to you. So just shoot me an email because I definitely will forget in a hot minute. I know I do. But I will definitely send that to you. Okay. All right, everyone. And then yeah, and I will show you next week. Well, I guess time after, because I already got someone special. We can go through how to also see those numbers. Okay. All right. Have a great day. Thank you.